My name is Lisa Shivler. I'm the office coordinator at the Rose Center, and we welcome you here. We're in downtown Morristown, and the Rose Center was originally the Rose School and opened in 1892 as a coeducational school. It's currently operating as a cultural arts center for a six-county area. We're going to welcome you now to the Rose Center. We invite you to come join us at any time.
My mother especially was very interested in art, and we'd like to take you on a tour of that art and explain a little bit about the different styles of art as we go along.
Well, thank you very much for coming and seeing our mother's art at the Rose Center. I hope that sometime you'll be able to see the Rose Center in person. This is a picture of our mother, Clemmie Sawyer Wishart, who was born in Sawyer Holler in near Morristown, Tennessee. This is when she was 24 years old and had moved to New York City because of our father's job as a commercial airline pilot. Next picture is my mother at the age of 85, sitting in front of one of her pictures. At this time, she was blind. Although she wore glasses, she could see shadows. But she loved her paintings and loved living here in Morristown, Tennessee. These are three pictures that she painted early in her painting career. As you can see, there is a little progression from more realistic paintings to more impressionistic paintings. She enjoyed the paintings of Monet and Renoir, the French Impressionist. And as time went on, her paintings increased and started developing a style more like the Georgia O'Keeffe style. She was thrilled with nature, and she loved the paintings of nature, and this went on all her life. She always found beauty in things. And then at the very end of her life, we found that, or the end of her painting career, she became much more abstract.
This is a typical early landscape of hers. It's, as you can see, if you look at the next one, this particular one is much, it's a much more, I want to say,
realistic,
primitive in the sense that she hadn't quite developed her style yet. And then as she moved into the next one, you will see that that style is more refined. You'll notice the colors that she really favored were bright and light and contrasting with darks in the background or around perhaps a floral painting. And she went from landscapes into florals, and she really preferred to develop a looser style as a result of going into the impressionistic period of her painting career. And then finally at the end, as my brother said, she got much more abstract.
These next three paintings on this wall are mostly more impressionistic, influenced by the French Impressionists, Monet and Renoir. And the first one is called Vision of Water Lilies. And as you can see, it's becoming much more impressionistic. As we move to the second picture, these next two are called the Fantasies in the Fields. Here, she's expressing her view of her youth and childhood and her joy of being surrounded by nature.
If you notice the colors, they're much, Impressionists are painters that paint things that look lifelike, but they don't define the detail. So as you can see, things look lifelike, but they are not so real like a photograph. And that's what denotes an impressionist. And you can see from looking at these three paintings that they look like you can identify the foliage, you can identify the lilies floating on the water, but they're not like a photograph. They're soft and almost fuzzy looking. Our mother progressed from painting landscapes into florals. So now we're in her floral period. And as you look at the flowers, they look more defined than the impressionistic landscapes that she used to paint. But yet they're not so full of detail. And that's left up to the viewer to fill in the detail. And you can see how smooth the big white lily is here. And that one doesn't have all the little veins and lines that you find in a lily, but yet it's such a big, splashy, smooth presentation that it does capture your eye, the viewer's eye. This one is very typical of how she handles large florals. She takes 2 calla lilies, puts them on a black background, and then paints detail, but not too much, because she wants you to see the form and the color to make it stand out in your minds. As you can see, the green leaves only enhance the flower's ability to pop out at you. And as you look at the pink peonies over here, you will see that up close, it's hard to really see that it looks like nothing but a big pink blob. But when you stand back, all the colors that she's painted into the shadows create the definition of peonies. And it looks very light and bright, and very much like a Georgia O'Keeffe approach. Georgia O'Keeffe is the one who inspired these paintings. And the one on the end with the black and the one here in the red, you can see it's surrounded by a black background, which makes the colors stand out.
This was one of my mother's first florals. She started this painting, and then she continued to develop her style of painting large florals.
As you look at the orange painting, and here's where you can get really wild if you want to. You can take a color like orange, as my mother did here, and make it into a sky with the moon or the sun shining through the clouds, and it becomes quite unusual. You can do that in your own art if you ever try drawing something and painting something or coloring something. You can take a color that's not usually found in the sky, although orange is, but not in such an intense form. So you can take an orange color and you can paint a sky and a sun or a moon, as she did here. And this gets into developing that abstract part of her art. And abstraction is something that is very creative, free-flowing, and does not always resemble any particular object, form of an object. And this happens to be a sky, but it's the wrong color, most people would say.
And as my mother progressed, her art became much more free-form and much more intense in color, contrasting colors, and bringing light and life to the canvas.
Often, you're inspired by something, and here she could have easily thought of, for example, how did the earth begin? How did it come into being? And this could easily have been her interpretation of that.